This is P.L. Myers, a shot to the top, pro wrestling's manager extraordinaire.
This is Steve Michaels, the master of the Chicago Bear Hug.
This is Tim Storm, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. You're listening to Whaddya Say with DDJ. If you love professional wrestling, this is where you need to get your information. Don't miss this.
Welcome everyone to episode 12 of Whaddya Say with DDJ. As always, I am your host DDJ, and once again, just to let you know, Whaddya Say with DDJ is now a part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies Pod Squad. So please feel free, if you've never heard of Pro Wrestling Junkies, check them out. We're a wrestling group on Facebook. We do a lot of fun interactive things with our members. I'm honored to be a part of the podcast network over there. And check out, send a request to join, answer a couple questions, and we'll get you in there. My guest this week is the newest member of the Chicago Connection. He is known as Mr. 3%, Jonathan Hudson. And just a couple things to look forward to. You'll hear the story of how Jonathan Hudson was given the Mr. 3% moniker. And also, he actually has a really interesting backstory that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. So sit back, relax, grab a beer, grab some food, and enjoy episode 12 of Whaddya Say with DDJ. And my guest this week, Mr. Jonathan Hudson. All right, welcome to another episode of Whaddya Say with DDJ, and with me today is the newest member of the Chicago Connection, Mr. 3%, Jonathan Hudson. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. So let's get right into it. Tell my audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you came from, give us a little background story.
No problem. My name is Jonathan Hudson. That's my actual name. I am originally from Malibu, California. Where do I start? Okay. I grew up very, I hate using this word because I'll admit to it. I do not believe in it, and I'll get to that point later, but I grew up very privileged. My mother was a ballet dancer for the Royal Ballet. She's British. So my father was in a band way back in the day called the Hudson Brothers. They had two primetime television shows back in the 70s, Razzle Dazzle and the Hudson Brothers Comedy Hour. And their big start was they actually took over the Sonny and Cher show for 5 weeks over a summer. And that's how they got their big start up. And Cher is actually, funny to admit, Cher is still actually a really good family friend. She, I'll get into it, but my dad once was diagnosed with cancer. He would not be alive today if it wasn't for Cher. So Cher, if you're ever listening, I love you. So yeah, I grew up very privileged. I grew up in Brentwood, which is right near like UCLA and Hollywood, that area. We ended up moving to Malibu when I was 7 because our 4 houses down neighbor was O.J. Simpson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we had like a huge ivy front end in front of our house. And I remember seeing guys like looking through the ivy and stuff, but I didn't know what. I was only like 4 years old or something. As I got older, my parents told me it was the FBI looking for the murder weapon because when he drove the Bronco, he drove right past our house, and they think he might have thrown the murder weapon out there. And that's when my parents were like, hey, I think we should move. So, so we ended up moving into Malibu. And I stayed there my entire life. Well, not entire life. Till I was about 18 years old. But one night, I was 9 years old. It was right before I was supposed to go to bed. And I'm skimming through, and I come across professional wrestling. I came across a gentleman by the name of Goldberg.
Okay.
He was wrestling a guy named Hugh Morris.
It must have been his debut.
I had no idea. I just saw a guy, just some big dude who had no expression and just went nuts and just crazy. But like at 9 years old, I never really looked at the wrestlers. I looked at the crowd. I just, that reaction to beating someone up. I didn't know the gimmicks of wrestling yet. I was intrigued with it. That was it. I went straight to my dad, who was actually writing a script at a time. And I told him, I was like, Daddy, I want to be a professional wrestler. And I'll never forget this. He looked right at me, and instead of being like the normal dad who's like, oh, good job, son, good for you, he asked me if I finished my homework. So that's how that all started. But then, from 9, it's all I ever wanted is just wrestling. Everything I ever did was for wrestling at the age of 9. The second I was able to go to the gym at 12, I've been in the gym since I was 12 years old. I'm 33 now, 21 years, just going hard. In the state of California, you cannot train for a sport outside of school if you're not 18 years old. So I had to wait till I was 18. I tried going to college. That lasted about an hour and a half. Started training. I started training with 2 unbelievable guys. They go by the Ballard brothers, Shane and Shannon Ballard. They're Canadian. They had like a hockey gimmick. They were unbelievable. They were great. They taught me how to give, how to take, all that good stuff. I trained with them for about 4 years, and then from there I shipped out to North Carolina to train at High Spots with a old school guy by the name of George South.
Yes, I've heard of him.
Oh yeah, like dude, I went there and we were doing like do-si-dos and like this really old school stuff. So I trained out there for a bit, did a few shows out there for like, I did one show for NWA Charlotte, which was just like an oh my God, because it was like my first ever like oh my God show. And then I did a few other little crap shows there. Ran out of money. So then I went back home, made some money, and then I shipped out to Tampa, Florida. And I tried getting into FCW when FCW was WWE affiliated and everything. I got to the school there, but obviously, the dream didn't come true then. But my upstairs neighbor, I won't say his last name for privacy reasons, but his name's Adam. Mm-hmm. He knocked on my door one day and he's like, hey, I'm going to Orlando for a TNA taping. My wrestling coach is going to be there from Wisconsin. Do you want to come up? No problem. We actually were late to the show. We completely missed the show. But as we're walking into Universal Studios where they were filming it, a couple old guys are walking up and Adam goes, oh, hey, this is my wrestling coach, Angel Armani. Armani, this is Jonathan Hudson. And when I put my hand out to shake his hand, before I even said like, hey, nice to meet you, he called a spot, like tie up, take my head. And we did it. And we just, shot the crap for about like 2-3 hours. And he just looked at me and was like, this was 2011 or 12. Okay. He just looked at me and said, hey man, if you want to learn how to work, you got to get to Milwaukee. I'll train you. You got to get to Milwaukee. We kept in touch from time to time. I ended up going back to California. I started training again with the Ballard brothers. Around this time actually is when like the sufferings of trying to make it in wrestling really hit me. Mm-hmm. I was living in my car for about 8 months. I did everything and anything. I mean, like, I'm not going to lie to you. I got to be honest with you. I did everything I could to survive. I stole food. I would steal things to return to another shop to get a gift card so I can hopefully sell that gift card to get gas money. Like it's horrible, horrible, horrible. I feel horrible what I did, but I had to do whatever I could do to survive. And this is all coming from what I just said in the beginning. I grew up very privileged, but I tried to make it on my own. So when people say that word white privilege, I do not believe in it, because if I was privileged, I would not be still trying to make it 14 years later. And neither would anybody else. Sorry to people who are listening. I'm not trying to get political, but no one's privileged. You work for your own privilege. So I was homeless, dying for everything. But during that time of being homeless, Angel Armani texted me every day for a year. I'm not joking. Every day, just saying, get out here, get out here, get out here. One day I was like, dude, 1, I barely know who you are. 2, you sound a little creepy. And 3, I don't have any money. And right when I said I don't have any money, he said, I don't care. If you can get out here, you can live with me for free. I'll train you for free. I bid on that real quick. I scrounged up every little thing I could. I drove out to Milwaukee, and my life completely changed when it came to professional wrestling. Within 3 months of being with him, I got the call from WWE to do all that extra talent crap, which I've done a handful of times, which now I think about it, it's really just a great payday to eat catering or wear a security shirt. But from there, Armani, he blew my name up and got me out there so much. And I just started traveling everywhere, from pretty much all over the Midwest, doing some shows in Florida. And yeah, everything was going great, like absolutely great. And then COVID hit. I mean, but you know, just the trials and tribulations of trying to be a professional wrestler is it's a work in itself. It really is. And you know, we all of us, and I'm not trying to single myself out at all. Every one of us, male, female, everyone who's in the business, especially where we're at, we all put on a face that everything's going good and everything's happy. But we're all struggling. We're all not struggling like financially. I mean, struggling, working our asses off, trying to get to that next level. So, you know, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, so that's how it all started. From 9 years old all the way up. And then, you know, a lot of other things happened in between there, but that's for another conversation.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I really, you know, and made me think about, you know, why I do this podcast is how you talk about just like struggling to kind of get your name out there and that kind of thing. And that's kind of the main reason why I started this podcast, is because I wanted to give those, you know, people a chance that may not necessarily have an outlet to kind of get themselves out there, or get themselves over, get them, you know, I want them to have a voice, because I've been a wrestling fan for about 30 years. Oh
yeah, man.
And stuff. So, and like I said, as I've gotten to, you know, understand what professional wrestling is and kind of getting an idea of how it works and stuff. I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything, because I still want to have a little bit of that mystique and that kind of thing. And
yeah.
But like, you know, like say getting to know people like Paul Myers, John Bullard and stuff, like it's just, you know, and seeing like what you guys go out and do, like what you did at the October 3rd show, which we'll talk about in a little bit and stuff, you know, just like the effort that you guys put in, you know, and it's just, I feel like you guys deserve more than anybody to have a voice, to have an outlet. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, is because like us doing this right now, I'm giving you a chance to kind of tell your story and to get yourself out there. So
dude, I commend you for that. That's awesome. Just the fact that that's why you're doing this. That's awesome, man. That's that's everything that we as entertainers love is like, thank you for that. And how you mentioned the October 3rd show, like, yeah, you were there. It honestly seemed like every wrestler, male, female, was just foaming at the mouth to entertain.
Oh yeah.
And it just, I'm not a big Facebooker. I'm really trying hard to get my social medias going and stuff. But, you know, I saw a lot of comments talking crap on Chicagoland wrestling, and a lot of comments talking crap on the Chicago connection. And if you just wouldn't mind me saying real quick.
Sure.
You were at that show, right?
Yes, sir.
The crowd was hot from bell to bell, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, we couldn't pack it in because of everything going on, but with all the regulations and stipulations and everything that John Ballard had to go through, we had a full house, right?
Absolutely. I felt like that show could have, drawn so many more people, had COVID not happened and stuff. But man, it felt like there were, I think it was like a couple hundred people or something like that. But man, it felt like there was so much more in there.
There was, I think there was 150, but that was the legit maximum capacity we could do. There was no more. If we did any more, we probably would have been shut down due to COVID regulations. But it was an amazing show. It was a great show. Everyone was on their game. Everyone had energy. They were going, even and you could even see the workers in the ring feeding off the energy of the crowd. Mm-hmm. So for all those people talking crap on CCW, don't be jealous. Don't be a keyboard warrior. And if you got anything to say, I'm not that hard to find. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that I love that because I couldn't agree more with what you said. I mean, again, I'm a huge supporter. You got John's such a stand-up guy. You mentioned that earlier and stuff. Like, one of the things that I took away most from the show, and I even told this to John when I was talking to him afterwards, I said, every single wrestler that I've had on my podcast that he had on his show, Jackson P. Larkin, and so like he's the first one that pops up to mind. I had Matt Creed on just recently, and I had a few others and stuff. And obviously, I had Paul.
Love that guy. Yeah,
Matt Creed was awesome, and I'm planning on getting Tom on, and hopefully in a couple weeks when some commitments clear up and stuff.
Tom's a cool dude. I like Tom a lot.
Yeah. I love everybody there because one of the things, like I every time I was talking to Jackson P. Larkin, he came to me, he's like, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really like, and all the guys, like I know Steve Michaels, who wrestles down in OVW, was at the show, and stuff, helping out and stuff. And I talked with him, and it's just like just the fact that these guys are coming up to me, thanking me for having them on my show, when I'm just doing this for them, you guys, that meant a lot to me. And then just to kind of be like, everybody coming to me, hey, what'd you think of the show? What'd you think of my match? Totally Bertarelli was another one who came up to me a lot, and I spent a lot of time talking to and stuff. And it's just for you guys to ask me my opinion on the show and my opinion on your match, I take that as a huge honor because, I mean, again, I'm just a fan. I'm not a worker. I don't portray myself as one. And stuff. I'm just it, and John and everybody, like, it's just, John really went out of his way to make me feel like I was part of the team. And I told him that, and I said, that meant so much to me. And I just, that then and there, I told him, it's like, whatever I can do to help you guys out, name it, and stuff.
Yeah, and John's that type of guy. It looked as if he did that with everybody there.
Yep,
like really just had them, like, just really make them feel like part of the family. And just to reiterate on what you said, your opinion does matter. It matters a buttload to us. I hope you know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I absolutely get it.
Of course, your opinion matters, because if you like what you're seeing, everyone else is going to like what they're seeing. So thank you. I can't thank you enough for that, man.
Well, and also too, if I like what I see, I'm going to want more, meaning I'm going to buy, another ticket, like I said, which I did from John's wife at the show. I'm gonna buy, the shirts. I'm gonna support you guys. I'm gonna have more of the, the CCW guys on my show. I like what I see and stuff. And that's key. So
yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so you had mentioned about some of the stop places that you went and trained, with the Ballard brothers and George stuff. Take me a little bit about what did the Ballard brothers teach you? Like, what was it, like, the best piece of advice you got from them?
Best piece of advice I got from the Ballard brothers: protect your opponent, because that man's trying to put food on the table for his family too. You know, how I mentioned how they really taught me how to give and take. That was huge, really huge. I knew how to do all these moves safely and everything, but I'm not trying to talk crap on the Ballards. I love them to death. Shane, Shannon, if you're watching, I hope you guys are doing great. I miss you. I love you. But they never taught me how to work.
Okay.
And there's a big difference between, oh, I could do 450s and shooting all this crap. But if you don't know how to work, you're not going anywhere. You can literally have a match with just headlocks and finish with a roll up. And if you tell a story, you're going to have that crowd engaged. But so with the Ballard brothers, they just really taught me how to do moves and give and take. And like, I'm not trying to talk crap on them, but when I was training with them, it was a UPW, a place called Ultimate Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard of that. I've heard of that group. If I'm not mistaken, that's where Cena got to start, correct?
Yep. That's actually, I'll be honest with you, man. That's the only reason why I went there. I literally turned 18. Daddy, I wasn't joking at 9. I want to be a professional wrestler. I went online and I saw, that John Cena trained there, Samoa Joe trained there, The Miz, Chris Masters, Mike Knox, like the whole list just goes on.
I believe Frankie Kazarian was there too, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, yes, thank you. And so Christopher Daniels as well, and Tom Howard. Tom Howard was a trainer there. I was a mark. I just saw that and I was like, oh, this is the place to go. Little did I know the promoter, who I have no problem bashing this guy, Rick Bassman, the biggest piece of crap in the world. And I can say that because John Cena told me that to my face. He's like, oh, you're a UPW guy too? When I was backstage once, I said, yeah. He's like, so you know Bassman? I'm like, yeah. He's like, he's a piece of SHIT, isn't he? I'm like, oh, yes, he is. So no one likes him. He's the biggest piece of crap ever. He just wanted big, muscular dudes all jacked up on steroids that he would go get like at Gold's Gym Venice to try and get to wrestle. But so for the Ballard brothers, they were told pretty much to only really work hard with certain guys. At the time, I was 18, 19 years old, maybe 170 pounds soaking wet. I wasn't really anything. But I kept going to training 3 days a week, kept getting better. And then after 4 years and not being given – well, no, I was given 3 matches. You could actually get them on YouTube. If anyone wants to watch them, John Hudson versus Drew Molzon. Drew Molzon, do you remember when NXT was like a game show?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think he did season 4. He was Jacob Novak.
Yes, I remember that name.
Yeah, he like got the cornrows with JTG and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I do remember that.
I trained with him at PW, and we ended up becoming really good friends. So my first 3 matches are actually against him. That you can, or actually no. Oh my God! I've been hitting the head so many times I'm losing. My second and third were with him, and my first one was with a guy who I have so much respect for. His name's the Mirror Image, Ricky Mandel. He actually wrestles for Lucha Underground now. I don't know.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he wears a or I don't. To be honest with you, man, I don't even know if Lucha Underground's going anymore. But he wore.
But I know Rick Mandel from Lucha Underground.
Yeah, he wore a mask and was with like Matt Cross and all those guys. Yeah. Yeah, my first match was with him, and this was all done at the Anaheim Marketplace, right down the street from Disneyland. And I'm sorry for everyone who wants to watch. If you do not speak Spanish, you have no idea what they're saying because the commentating is all in Spanish. Everything is Espanol, but they're okay matches. But yeah, so they got me a few matches there at the Anaheim Marketplace, but then I just started realizing, like, I'm not really going anywhere. They're not giving me anything. I have to go somewhere else, which is why I shipped out to High Spots in North Carolina because, Ric Flair, the Hardy Boys, there's a lot of wrestling heritage there. So I shipped there.
Awesome. So we're going to North Carolina now. What were some of the things that you learned from George South?
Nothing. Not going to lie to you. Nothing. He is so. I mean, but that kind of sounded really rude. Let me rephrase that.
Go for it.
He's so old school.
Mhm.
He was so old school, and that, old school is a great thing to learn, because I don't care what anyone says. It's very similar to the fitness industry. There's some new bull crap coming out every day, but the basics always work.
Yep.
But it was so old school. Like I said, we were doing do-si-dos. We were doing like drop downs, and then you drop down over, then you drop down, like just not even monkey rolls, just you drop down until you hop out of the ring. Really just things you do not and will never see today. But the great thing about high spots was that even though I paid for a class with George South, I can go there from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., even if no one's there, just to get in the ring and train, which was really cool. And the cool part about it is that they actually had their training ring in the middle of their factory. So you would be training around all these like action figures and replica belts, and also they had a video section that they would actually let you rent footage so you can watch. I hope they're not watching, because I stole one of them. It's my favorite wrestling DVD. It's a DVD that I don't think anyone has ever. It's Chris Jericho, the first 5 matches in Mexico and the first 5 matches in Japan.
Oh, wow. I would love
Yeah.
to.
Oh my God. Oh, dude, it is so, I have it like framed. Like that thing isn't going to see the light of day anymore. But like, yeah, so that was the really cool thing about high spots, was that it was actually a ring I can go to any point in time by myself, with a partner, doesn't matter. That was the cool thing about high spots. But with George South, I'm not trying to talk crap on him. I know his accomplishments. I am grateful and thankful for what he's done for the business, but I personally didn't learn a thing.
Well, there goes I already know the answer to my next question is going to be, can I borrow that DVD sometime? And obviously it's in a frame. And stuff.
Honestly, dude, we'll work something out. We'll
Yeah.
figure. Trust me, man. You will be glued. Just like, obviously Jericho can't work, the way he used to when he was like in his 20s, but just to watch him, it's unbelievable. It's seriously a gem of wrestling, definitely. But we'll work something out for sure.
Definitely. Well, kind of on a little bit of because I always seem to somehow get into a discussion with Chris Jericho with just about every guest I have on here. So you mentioned how he can't work now like he used to, but the thing is I don't think he needs to work the way he used to.
Kind of like to what I said not too long ago. If you know how to work, you can literally do a 15-minute match of headlocks and finish it with a roll-up. And if you can tell a story, you're over. And I'm sorry, but I think Chris Jericho, as of right now, is the best, if not the best. He's number one right now. Every time he's on the screen, it's entertainment. And did you see AEW last night?
I did, actually. I did.
Okay.
And I was going to eventually, I was going to kind of go into that. What were your thoughts on the, what was it? Like Dinner Debonair, I believe is what they call it.
Okay, like, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, now that I'm a family man and have kids, it's really hard to try to get the alone time to watch that stuff. But since I'm up at like 4:35 in the morning, I kind of get it, like, on Instagram or Facebook or something. I watched that, and at first I just saw a singing clip, and I was like, what the hell are they doing? But then I saw the whole clip.
Yeah.
That was entertaining as hell, man. I thought it was great how they just had the basically non-cooked steaks. I thought it was really funny, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah. But yeah, every time Jericho gets on the screen, you're bound to get gold.
And you just think about, and we'll kind of, a couple more things in Chris Jericho, and we'll kind of get, again, Chris Jericho's awesome. He's one of my all-time favorites. But that guy is so good at getting stuff over. I mean, he got, a little bit of the bubbly over. He got the list over. He even got the word it over. I mean, it's just amazing what this guy continues to do.
He's like Jericho. I mean, now that we're talking about Jericho a little bit, he was actually the first guy that I noticed like when I cut promos, especially I love cutting promos as a heel, because like in real life, I'm the most angry person you'll ever meet. I'm very calm, very chill, very everything, but I don't like stupidity, and I'm not gonna lie to you. In the Midwest, you can get that a little bit.
No,
I don't like I don't like laziness. I don't like excuses. I'm not that type of guy. But what, like with Jericho, he was the first guy that I saw talk on the mic that spoke like this. He was very, very, and he got it was in WWE when I noticed it. He got everyone to shut up without saying shut up, because everyone wanted to listen to what he was going to say, because you knew whatever was coming out of his mouth was gold. And he was like the first guy that, instead of going like, now you listen to, like, you know, he was just very like, now you listen to me. He was very calm, which I loved. And that really intrigued me with his promos. And then now, honestly, it just looks like he's having fun. Yeah. It just looks like he's like, yeah, you know what? Here, my daughter's school scissors. He can just be like, you know what? I'm going to get this over. And he'll have it over in 5 minutes. Like,
and he'll be on a t-shirt the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Like the guy's just a genius. And he should keep going until he can't go anymore. Everything he does is just money.
Right. Okay. So so obviously, you know, you mentioned about what you learned from the Ballard Brothers and George South. When did you finally learn how to work, so to speak?
Angel Armani.
Okay.
When I first got to Wisconsin and started training with Angel Armani, or what he used to go by as Colonel Blatnick, a lot of guys just still call him the Colonel. Even to this day, he is my mentor. He's my coach. He's my brother. He's my best friend. I love that guy. He taught me the basics of working, just that no one else ever did. And I hope I'm not trying to give away any little trade secrets of working here, but he taught me, you know, feet to the middle of the ring, always be in the middle, rope to rope, corner to corner. You know, always keep your head up with everything. Make sure the crowd can see this. He taught me how to pace a match. He taught me when to do things. You don't, you know, if you know how to do a 450 splash, but it's not your finisher, don't do it. You don't need to. Pull it out of your back pocket when they least expect it. Angel was the one that really shaped me and shifted me. And he's actually the one that gave me the Mr. 3% name. I mean, if you want to hear that story, it makes me look like a butthole, but
no, please go right ahead.
Okay. So I was with, it was me, Angel Armani, another guy who I love working and have great respect for, Chris Morgan. Another guy who I have great respect for and work with is Chris Black. And we were with another really good friend of mine who I love dearly. He goes by Xavier Mustafa, up in Wisconsin. And we were all at our bar. There was a really good looking blonde girl, and she was sitting at the bar, and I'm not going to lie, I was hammered. I was gone. And I was like, I guarantee I can get her number. And they were like, no, you can't, Hudson. I'm like, watch me. And I walked over there. I got her phone. Oh God. I hope my wife doesn't hear me. I got her phone number. And when I came back to the table, I threw the number down. I'm like, there you go. They're like, how'd you get it? And I was like, I just told her I had 3% body fat. Just like a total arrogant piece of crap. I was living with Armani at the time. So when I walked out and he was sitting on the couch, and the first thing he said to me, he went, I have your gimmick. You're Mr. 3%. You're better looking. You're sexy. You're better than everyone. You have no fat on you. You're Mr. 3%. And I flat out said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I did not want to go by it. For the next couple shows, I just went by John Hudson, or, you know, just normal John Hudson. And then when he started running his shows, because he runs a promotion called MIAW up in Milwaukee, but he's old school with it. He kind of runs like the Vern Gagne type thing. He only runs like in the wintertime. And so when he had his first show, he flat out said, he's like, I don't care what you say. You're going out as Mr. 3%. You're Mr. 3%. You want to get paid tonight? You're Mr. 3%. And I went out there. Yeah, I went out there as Mr. 3%. It caught on a little bit. It really did. But then when I eventually got like into the Indiana area, I was wrestling for a promotion called Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling. And I actually wrestled, if anyone's listening, you're probably going to have a chuckle with this one, but I wrestled a man by the name of Adam Bueller. And out of nowhere, in the beginning of the match, he just goes, if I hear anybody chant 3%, you know, I'm going to whatever. So if anyone knows the history of me and Adam Bueller, and once again, Adam, God rest your soul, bro, rest in peace. He's the one that got the 3% chant going. And ever since then, just the first couple times I used it in Wisconsin, and then that first time I used it in Indiana, it just took off. It went crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's how I got the 3% thing. I told some girl I had 3% body fat for her phone number.
That's one of the best stories and I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to blow smoke up your ass or because you're on here, but that is genuinely one of the best stories I've heard on this. I've been doing this podcast.
Dude, it's the swear to God truth that I've only told like 6 people that, because in all honesty, it makes me look just like an arrogant piece of crap. But you know what? It's the truth. That's what I said. That's what I did, and that's how I got it.
Well, I love it. So kind of going back a little bit, you know, you said Goldberg was actually kind of what got you hooked on wrestling. Who are some of your other early favorites when you first started watching?
Before I get into that, if you want a story about me and Goldberg, I'll tell you that. But
please.
Another, okay. I mean, obviously, Stone Cold.
Mm.
Stone Cold. He. How can you not love that guy? And then I started to love The Rock in The Corporation.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he had great matches and everything, but I wanted to hear him talk on the microphone, especially in The Corporation. It was amazing. A couple other guys, obviously Shawn Michaels. Those are like the top guys that, I guess everyone would know about, I guess. But then when I started to venture out a little bit, I am a massive, massive, massive fan of Kota Ibushi. I love Kota.
He just won the G1, correct?
For the second year in a row.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, how can that guy – well, you know what? I actually commend him because he did the whole cruiserweight thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
And, I'm not trying to stir up anything. This is what I heard. So take it with a grain of salt. They offered him a contract that was like disrespectful. Like, really? You want to give me that? Like, no, I make more money over here. Mm-hmm. And that guy, he's top level right now. I've loved him since 2007 is when I first saw him. And another guy who I absolutely love, obviously, Kenny Omega. I have been a fan of Kenny Omega since his debut match in Ring of Honor against Delirious. If anybody listening wants to see that match and just how to get over, watch that match. No one knew who Kenny Omega was. He wrestled Delirious. At the end of the match, they were chanting, "Please come back." Wow. Unbelievable stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can get into like the old school guys too. I mean, I love the Freebirds. I love their flash, their, you know, all that crap. I love the Von Erichs. You know, I can Terry, all the Funks, all of them. To be honest with you, man, there isn't one guy I can't say, because all of those guys really paved the way for guys like me and, you know, the males and females that are trying to get up and doing what I'm doing. They all paved the way. So I got to show respect to everyone.
Right. Okay, so let's hear this Goldberg story.
Okay. I really hope he finds out this, because I will say it to his face and bitch slap him when I'm done. So, true story. I saved up money to go to Tampa, Florida for FCW, how I mentioned.
Yep.
My dad drove me out there from California to Florida, coast to coast.
Wow.
My dad he was introduced to a guy by the name of Ray Story. Ray Story, he's best known for the founder and inventor of the e-cigarette.
Okay.
But back in, I believe it was 2000 or also 2001, right at the end of WCW's reign, he was the stage manager for WCW. And when we were driving to Florida, he lives in Atlanta. We actually stopped off in Atlanta, stayed at his house. Beautiful home. It was awesome. But, and he was telling me, you know, he asked me the same questions, you know, whatever. And Goldberg. He told me, he's like, yeah, I know Goldberg. He's a good friend of mine, you know, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, kind of, he actually told me, how he got the Who's Next Monarch. He was with his one of his brothers, and he was like, you know, you need a shtick. You need something that, you know, The Rock has this and this. You need something next. You need something. And the waitress just goes, all right, who's next? And there you go. That's how he got it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. We woke up the next morning, the next day. Ray Story hands me the phone. Who is it? He's like, just say hi. I pick it up. I'm like, hello? It's Goldberg on the other line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro, I cried.
Mm.
I cried. I wept. My childhood hero on the phone with me, telling me, oh my God, it was great. And I was just marking out totally, very subtly though. And I was, you know, telling him like, thank you so much for the opportunity just to speak with you. And he was giving me pointers. And then he asked me what I was doing. And I said I was going to FCW to try and get in there and try and go to the school, get seen, anything. And he said to me, and I quote, you know, Norman Smiley is a really good friend of mine. I love what I'm hearing out of you, kid. I'm going to give Norman a call for you. And he said this, and I quote, I haven't been in the wrestling business in a while. I kind of see this as me somewhat getting back into the business a little bit, you know, helping out a young guy like yourself with so much passion. You know, I'll do that. I'll give Norman a call for you. That's when I broke out and just wept, thanking him. Thank you. I get to FCW. What phone call?
Oh, man.
So Goldberg, if you're listening, screw you. And if I ever see you, I will bitch slap you because you're a brittle piece of crap. Sorry, I have to say that. I've been waiting since 2011 to get that off my chest. So anyone who says Goldberg's a great guy, no, he's not. He's a piece of crap. He told, I'm sorry, like I was, well, hold on, 10 years ago, I was 22, 23 years old, and he told a kid who was his child, he was my childhood hero. He told him that I will, to my ear, I will call Norman for you and put a word in for you. The passion out of your voice, I just love. Where's my damn phone call? I am not the type of guy to tell someone, especially someone who's weeping to me, looking at me like their hero. I'm not going to tell them I'm going to help them and then not do anything. I might as well rot in hell for that, which I hope he does. anyways, so there's my Goldberg story. So
Wow. That was
yeah, thanks Goldberg.
Yeah, thanks, Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got your back, man. So
Appreciate that, bro. I'm probably gonna need it.
okay, you mentioned some of the companies work for. So now let's get into the whole thing with how'd you hook up with John?
He called me. From what I was kind of told, Michael Allen, who I have the utmost. I love that guy. Great guy. He's and another guy who will just hit me up from time to time just to see how my family's doing, which is great. If I'm mistaken, hopefully I could be corrected down the line. So if I'm mistaken, I'm sorry, but I think Michael, from what I know, Michael told John, like, you know, you need to pick up Hudson. You need to get Hudson. And from what John told me, he's always liked my stuff. He's always wanted to work with me. And the promotions that I worked for in Indiana, I hope they start running again, but I don't know. And he gave me a call and said, well, I'd love to have you work for me. And I didn't even hesitate. I yes, sir, where do I go? And then the third was I met John before, but the October 3rd was the first time I actually got to like speak to him and converse. And just what a stand-up guy.
100%.
Just no, like seriously, a class act. Just a respectful. He actually seems interested in what the worker has to say,
Yeah.
which is just, you know, obviously that's every wrestler's dream, is to at least have their input heard. And it seems as if he's getting everyone's input and taking it all in, and then, you know, using it. Like he's everything that he's done. I will say, you know what? I'll say this about John. He's a freaking trailblazer, and I want to be behind a guy that's trailblazing.
Me too.
Yeah.
So then the rest obviously is history.
Yeah, definitely.
So one thing I want to go into a little bit as well is, you know, you mentioned about, you know, having we talked. I should say we talked before we started recording. You know, about, you know, family stuff, like you're a father, I'm a father, things like that. And we talked, and, you know, you mentioned COVID and stuff. So how has COVID affected you both personally and professionally?
Professionally, crappy. Blah. With wrestling, crappy. Because it's like, you know, everyone's, well, not, I don't want to say everyone, because there are promotions going, but it seems like the majority of them are a little too scared. And you know what? I'm not trying to talk crap on that. That's their prerogative. You know, you got to be respectful and, you know, careful with everything going on. My opinion, I will never let a virus control my life. You know, we don't even have a cure for the common cold, and everyone gets it every year. We don't have a cure for the common flu, and everyone gets it every year. But then again, it's a serious thing going on, so I respect the fact that everyone's trying to be safe. So, you know, I get that. But, you know, and also, like, I just started, okay, I was always a personal trainer. And then when wrestling took off, I cut that off, because usually personal training, you're pretty much like a therapist. They
Right.
just want to talk. They just want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I started personal training again. So I got a couple clients, which is cool. I'm sponsored with a supplement company, Elite Performance, which is also pretty cool. So I get, you know, like, you know, work-wise, I'm doing good. Wrestling-wise, I wish it was better right now. But, you know, I know things will turn around and everything will be great. Family-wise, it's actually not that bad. So I have a 7-year-old daughter, technically a stepdaughter, but I'm daddy. She's my daughter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, sperm donor is he nothing. He hasn't even contacted her in years. I'm daddy. So she's my daughter, only 3 months old. Just a little baby.
I've seen the pictures on Facebook. She is a doll. So congratulations.
She is the light of, oh my God, she's amazing. But so with, you know, 2 little girls, luckily I have the one going to school, which I'm very grateful for. And my wife works for the health department of Michigan. She actually works for the WIC program. You know, like the like we're
Public
single
aid type stuff.
It's like, yeah, like aid for, like, you know, single women, or
Like formula, and they get that kind of stuff. Yes, we have something like that in Illinois as well too. So
yeah. So like, she works for them, and luckily with everything going on, she's actually working from home till December 1st, which actually it's been pushed back twice already. She should have been back at work at the beginning of October. Then they pushed it to the weekend or the week of Thanksgiving. Now they pushed it to December 1st. I'm pretty sure it's going to keep on going until whenever. So she's home at work. So that's also a really big help with the baby and everything.
Yeah.
It really sucks because, like, you know how I mentioned I'm from California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got my sister, my brother-in-law, my nieces, and my nephew that haven't met her yet. You know, we all have to do the Zoom stuff. And, you know, like, well, you know what, screw it. It's the truth. You know, my other family, like my cousin Katie, Kate Hudson, her brother, my other cousin Oliver Hudson, my Aunt Goldie, my Aunt Cindy, Cindy Williams. She's best known for being Shirley on Laverne and Shirley.
Yep.
You know, my cousin Jessica Keenan Wynn, who she's a Broadway actress, and she actually just the major film so far she starred in was Mamma Mia 2. She was one of the when the older women did like a flashback, she was one of the flashback women.
Okay.
And my cousin Sarah, who she's a songwriter. She's actually Katy Perry's songwriter, best known for writing that song "Dark Horse." So with all of that, like, entertainment family, once they found out I had a baby, they've been hitting me up off the hook, wanting to see her, wanting to meet her, wanting this, wanting that. And, you know, there's only so much you can do with a little screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the crappy part is that she has so much family that she needs to meet, but who knows when, you know, like, it's everything's up in the air right now.
It really is, because I think about it. Like we also mentioned off air, I have a son who's 5, and basically the things you said about your daughter perfectly encapsulates how I feel about my son. And when I hear stories about, like you told me with your stepdaughter who calls you daddy and stuff, it breaks my heart, because I just think of all the joy and the stuff I get out of being the father of my son, and just how some people out there just, they don't want anything to do with that, and it's just all the things that they're missing out on and stuff. But
yeah, well, like, and I'll be honest with you, man, like technically, like, blood wise, like, yeah, she's my stepdaughter, but like, we already sent in the papers to have her name changed to Hudson. She's mine. That's my daughter. She's mine. I'm daddy. So I am so fortunate to have 2 of the most beautiful little girls ever. And I'll be honest with you, man, I think God gave me girls for a reason. Back in my early years, I probably didn't treat girls the best, and I will admit that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're, you know, especially as a professional wrestler, and you know, I'm not one. Man, I know this is going to sound so narcissistic and everything, but, you know, like, when you look like me and then you go to places that you don't have people that look like me, you get a lot of attention, and sometimes it's not the best attention. And I was too immature to even, you know, to do it the right way, I guess I can say. I don't want to get too much into it, but I think God gave me girls for a reason, and it's an absolute joy. I love. They are the light of my life. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
That's awesome. So one more wrestling related question here, and we'll start wrapping it up here. So you'd mentioned about being an extra, for security and stuff, on like WWE shows. So take me through, like, okay, so you get the call that they want you to show up, at the arena as an extra and stuff. What is the day like for something like that?
It's the best, worst payday ever. So this is how, and like, a lot of us have done it. I have great friend, me and Marche. That's actually the first time I met Marche.
Okay.
It was backstage at WWE, and the first thing I thought about him was, man, this guy does not shut up. But no, Marche, I love you, buddy. I love you with all my heart, man. Marche, Nick Cutler, a lot of my friends have done it. So this is what it's like. Okay, so like the last one I did, I was living here in Michigan. They wanted me to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin for Raw, and then St. Paul, Minnesota for SmackDown. So what you do, you show up around 1 p.m. You are supposed to go to some office. It's either Vince's office or, a man by the name of John Cone, who's, he's
referee.
Yeah. Thank you. A referee. You go to their office, let them know that you're there. And then you go straight to catering, which, by the way, WWE, you got some amazing catering. I have never forgotten about. No, dude, their chili lime salmon was the best salmon I ever had in my life. So you go to catering, you put your gear down in some little corner of the arena where, you can't be seen anywhere. And then you go to catering and you sit there, you eat. If they want you to do a spot like the last time I did anything, they had us do a security spot when it was Elgin. Oh, sorry, my bad. Sami Zayn. I know him as Generico. Sami Zayn against Samoa Joe, and we had to break him up, and then Zayn did a flip dive off the stage. It was right before Mania, and the Mania where I think Shane fought Undertaker. I don't know. You know what? I don't even know.
32 in 2016.
No, then this was a year later.
So that would have been against AJ in Orlando.
Thank you. Okay. I did that little security. This is how kind of screwed up it is. So you do a security spot, and they pay you a little extra because you're on TV, which is really cool. Yeah. So then you do your little spot. You go back to catering, and you just sit in catering. The show's over. You leave. You drive to the next show. So I drove to St. Paul. In St. Paul, so SmackDown, and if anyone's listening, I want to clear something up. Before SmackDown, when all the wrestlers and all the workers have been in the ring and they know what they're doing and going through their stuff, they let the extra talent get in there and do a little 5-minute match, tag match, singles match, whatever it may be. Everyone thinks it's a tryout match. It is not a tryout match. It's just for them to see how you work in that environment. They want to see if you are looking at the hard cam. They want to see if, you're showing your money. It's not a tryout. They just want to see if you kind of know what you're doing.
Like what your awareness is?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And they throw a lot of curveballs at you too, which actually I kind of like. I think it's a lot easier just to the finish, and then you call everything else in the ring. Mm-hmm. They'll throw curveballs at you, oh, hey guys, I know we told you had 5 minutes, but now you actually only have 2 minutes. Okay, go. So this is whatever. And sometimes another thing I want to say about I know we got to wrap this up, but WWE, I'm really upset with you because I'm just going to say her worker name. I won't say her actual name. I was there with a girl by the name of Shauna Reed, who I love to death. Shauna, I hope you're doing good. The girl they brought with her which is really crazy because you think WWE, they're bringing in people who they think can work, who they can possibly sign and make a star out of.
Right.
But no, if you're hot and blonde and you've only been training for 2 weeks, they'll bring you in. Or like a lot of like, and at this time, everyone was asking me like, did you send them your resume? I was like, no, they called me. I'm like, oh, well, I sent my resume for like, wait, you asked to be here? No, you got to let them call you. Right. So anywho, Shauna couldn't wrestle this girl because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. There was 5 guys. The 4 guys got partners. I was left out. And I was like, Shauna, you and me, we're doing a match. And we had a great match called out, like great match. I was, I'm the heel. She's the face. I'm not going to hit a girl. She gets on me, does a couple stuff. She does a sunset flip. I don't go down and I just punch her in the face. Like it was going to be a great match. And they told us, and I quote, we don't do intergender matches. 6 months later, they did that mixed match tag bull crap.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, WWE. So you do the whole, you roll around in the ring for a little bit, then you go back and get changed, and you go into catering. And that was about it. And but now after SmackDown, I don't know what they're doing now, but they did 205 Live. So the night before I was a security guard. The very next night I was a florist, walking down the ramp to give flowers to Alicia Fox.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. I mean, it was cool. And like, it was actually really funny because like everyone in the crowd was like, you're a worker, bro. You'll be here in 3 years. Oh, bro, you're a worker. Oh, dude, you're a wrestler. What are you doing? Like, it was actually really funny. But like, extra talent, they don't care. They don't, everyone thinks it's like, oh my God, WWE called me for extra talent. It's like, no, man, you're just a pawn. Like, you'll probably make more money staying at your shoot job and working your butt off and actually having them see you for your talent and giving you the phone call instead of you begging them, because if you're begging, they're not going to give you one look. But so that's pretty much it. You're there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You leave around, 11 o'clock, midnight, something like that. And all you do is eat catering. You might get a security spot. If not, you're just eating catering. That's it.
And that's not, not a bad day's work.
200. If you don't have a spot, it's $200 to eat food. That's it.
Yeah, that'd be my dream job.
Touche, man. Touche.
So one last thing, because it's something I just thought of, and then I'll give you time to plug your stuff. So you mentioned about the whole thing about working versus like we'll just refer to this stuff as a spot fest, and telling a story in the ring and stuff. What were your thoughts? Because this is one thing that I've told some friends, and things like that. The whole Roman Reigns Jey Uso story they got going on SmackDown right now, and the match they had at Clash of Champions. To me, that's probably the best piece of storytelling that WWE has done in years. And I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on if you saw that match and what you thought about the storytelling in that match.
I'll be honest with you, man. I actually feel bad for Jey Uso because there's screens in the crowd. I feel horrible for him because if they were doing this with an audience, finally the Usos will be getting what they deserve because those guys are good. And the second they got to that whole day one gimmick, the day one-ish gimmick, their promos were amazing. Everything was great. I really wish there was a crowd there. But even with that being said, my opinion, and I can't believe I'm saying, I've talked a lot of crap already, and WWE is a place I would love to be. So, but I think in a weird way, this is a perfect timing for them to do this because they pushed Roman down our throats so much that we wanted to boo him. Now that he's a heel, it's perfect, and honestly, I love how they interact. Like it's not the normal, you're a bad guy, I'm a good guy. it's family, and I love how they're using that. Like the whole I think what was it, a SmackDown? I think it was a SmackDown when Jay hit Roman with the super kick and then grabbed the chair and was like, "You love me, I love you," and hit him with the chair. Just like, it's a great story, and I really hope they play up with it. But from what I've been hearing, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything if it happens, I think they're doing a heel faction soon, which is going to be Roman with the Usos, like a family faction.
I wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you. As long as they can finish.
Yeah, that's what I hear. But honestly, man, I think this is the best thing in WWE right now.
Agreed.
It's entertaining. And in a weird way, it kind of gives me that feeling again when I was a little kid and I heard Goldberg's gongs hit. Like when you hear Roman's music come out, you're like, oh, all right, what's he gonna say? Because he's not the greatest talker, but he's getting better, and he's really pretty good as a heel. So like, and then when Jay and they've known each other forever, they just have that chemistry that you just want to see more of. And I truly believe this is the best thing going in WWE right now, and I hope they don't bury it like a lot of things they do.
And one of the things you forgot to mention that is Paul Heyman, because I think Paul Heyman being part of the story just makes it even that much better.
I love that Paul Heyman was always a Brock Lesnar guy. And now he's with a guy that if before this everyone found out, if you would have said, hey, who do you think Paul Heyman can work with? I guarantee Roman Reigns would be at the bottom of the list.
Right.
And it's great. And I love how Paul, he cut a promo kind of like explaining like a Brock Lesnar, but he interpreted it into Roman.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but everything that comes out of Paul Heyman's mouth is once again gold. That guy can cut a promo. That guy can tell a story. That guy can write a story. If I ever had the chance to work with him, I would just be a sponge, just absorb everything I can get.
Yep.
So, but yeah, no, I love it all. Once again, best thing right now in WWE.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here, but before we call it a day, how can people reach you on social media, and is there a place that people can go to buy merchandise of yours?
I'm actually getting merch made right now, so I will have a ProWrestlingTees.com already set up. You can get it on my Facebook. My Facebook is just my shoot name, Jonathan Hudson. That's the name I go by. I have my Instagram handle, Jonathan Hudson 1776. I don't have a Twitter because I'll be honest with you, I'm a family man. I got better things to do with my life. But you know what? I will plug this. If anyone's out in the Milwaukee area the night before Thanksgiving, come out to MIAW at the Oak Creek Community Center to see some awesome wrestling for MIAW. MIAW, I believe, is called Thanksgiving Throwdown. They have it every year. I've always been booked on that day with a promotion that I love, just near and dear to my heart, which I really hope starts up again, ARW. But with everything going on, I don't believe they're running. So this is actually my first time doing the night before Thanksgiving. So anyone out in the Milwaukee area, Oak Creek Center, the night before Thanksgiving, if you want to see seriously one of the greatest shows of the year, you better come out. You will not be upset.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, I got to say, this has just been tons of fun. And thank you so much for doing this, man. Like I said, it was an awesome time. I think the stories were great, and I don't think I've laughed this hard during one of my interviews.
Brother, man, once again, thank you. And I know this was like literally you hit me up for this 2 hours ago. Like, it was short notice, but I'm telling you right now, man, it could be within 5 minutes. Anytime. I would love to be on your show again. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, chill with you. It's been great, man.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, and hey, everyone out there, wear your mask, stay safe, wash your hands, and eat some vitamin C.
Words of wisdom from Jonathan Hudson.
Wow. Thanks again to Jonathan Hudson for spending some time with me. He just the stories, the fun, the laughs, everything. It was everything I had hoped this interview would be, and then some. Um, Definitely do your best to try to make it to one of his shows he suggested. Otherwise, if you're in the Chicagoland area or in Northwest Indiana, check out Jonathan Hudson and the rest of the superstars of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling on April 17th, 2020. Tickets are still available. The information will be coming across the screen here. And also, if you're listening to this on a Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Anchor, the information will be in the episode description. That's about all I have this week, and I will see everyone in a week with another episode of What Do You Say with DDJ. Thanks so much for listening.